first thing I do is I say, would you look at this? You know what I mean? Oh, go figure. Look at this. Oh, look at this. Oh, where is he? I'd like to look at it. You should have said, look at this, and that would have probably got you off if you told him to look.
Congresswoman, thank you so very much for your work in exposing the crimes of the sick, degenerate family. I believe one of the greatest lies ever pulled over the eyes of the American people is that the Biden family is run by this kindly old uncle patriarch who's just an old ginger grandfather who just loves pinching the face of his grandchildren, and he's just trying to do his best to raise his son. And you blew a hole in that fake facade yesterday, and we thank you for that.
Thank you, Benny. I really appreciate it. And I know a lot of people are shocked at the images that I showed on the Oversight Committee, but I'd like to explain why it was important to show those images. Those are actually proof of a crime, and these women are victims, and they should be looked at as victims. They're prostitutes that Hunter Biden was paying, and we have proof of his payments to these prostitutes. Not only did we read these explicit reports in the Treasury, these are bank reports called suspicious activity reports outlining human trafficking, describing how Hunter Biden was paying for prostitution out of his law firm, which is prostitution is illegal, but paying for it out of your law firm is illegal. And then we found out he was writing it off on his taxes through the brave word and courage from the IRS whistleblowers. This is a massive crime that any regular American would go to jail for. But the Department of Justice shut it down, and they refused to prosecute Hunter Biden for the crimes that these whistleblowers were exposing and bringing forward to the prosecutors, asking them to prosecute. And so I had to walk the American people and walk the committee through with proof of Hunter Biden's crimes, proof that he paid and bought plane tickets for this so-called West Coast associate, the assistant you were talking about, that he was forcing her to do, FaceTime naked with him. But I showed the airline ticket it was important to show that. It was paid for by him, had his email address on it. He flew her in town for less than 24 hours. The sex pictures that I showed to the committee have the actual date and location, Washington, D.C., on the photos. That was on the poster board that I was able to show to the committee. That's proof of him engaging in prostitution. And then we have the payments as well. He paid for those through Zelle accounts and through Owasco. And we have those in bank statements. And so I just was walking the American people through that story, walking our committee through that story, and having it confirmed by these actual IRS whistleblowers.
If you've been paying attention, and if there was a moral any shred of morality inside of our press, they would have been rallying to your side. I know that many members of the media disagree with you, but they fancy themselves feminists. And so they would be publishing headlines like this one from the Daily Mail. Hunter Biden could face prostitution charges for transporting hookers across state lines. I want people to know that what the Congresswoman exposed yesterday has been printed. This isn't crazy off-the-wall stuff. You have the photographs here in the press. This is available for anyone to report on at any time. Paying $30,000 for medical services, and you can scroll through this article. You can just see you see the photos of the prostitutes. It's readily available. Like MTG isn't. She's just exposing what anyone could find right now. She just has the guts to do it.
Well, and imagine if this was Don Jr. or Eric Trump. Can you imagine what the press would say about them? Can you imagine what the Department of Justice would do to them if this same evidence was revealed against President Trump's sons? It would be unthinkable. But instead today, just to your point, Benny, as I'm here on Capitol Hill and just came back to my office after voting, the press was asking me if this is considered revenge porn and if this was inappropriate for me to show these pictures. And they were asking me if other committee members were angry with me for showing these pictures. They didn't ask me about the proof that I exposed and showed the American people, because I think the American people deserve to know how bad the two-tier justice system is here. No, they were making accusations against me. But it's really terrifying. So I want to spell this out very simple. If the Department of Justice will not prosecute Hunter Biden for the tax crimes he's committed, for paying for prostitution through his law firm, for violating the Mann Act, which is human trafficking in our country, if they will not prosecute him for those specific crimes and all the proof is there and the IRS whistleblowers gave it to them, what will they do? This is an absolute outrage. And this is why Merrick Garland must be impeached. This is why every Republican voter, if you're registered, you really have to think hard about what 2024 means to you. We cannot change anything in Washington, Benny, without control of the White House, because if we have control of the White House, then we can make changes at the Department of Justice. But right now, Joe Biden, who is head of the Biden crime family, he is the head of Biden Inc. He is the one that is in charge of the Department of Justice, and they are in full protection mode of Joe Biden and Hunter Biden.
So, Congresswoman, seconds ago, these people were screaming about Brett Kavanaugh, believe all women, we must respect women, going after Harvey Weinstein and so on and so forth. Yet, these are the people who want to put Bill Clinton back in the White House. These are the people that are openly protecting this degenerate who abuses not only his own staff, but human traffics. In the time of Sound of Freedom, Jim Caviezel was on the show for an hour yesterday. They don't seem to have any morality left, actually, to defend this. And they were screaming at you. I just couldn't believe it. Jamie Raskin saying, how can we show these images? How can we possibly show them? They got to be taken down, Mr. Chairman. What's your response to that?
Yeah, they were outraged at the images. They weren't outright outraged at the proof of the crime that I was presenting before them. And let's be real, Benny, they're not outraged by these images. These are the same type of images they want in children's book, in public libraries and read at drag queen story times all over the country. These images do not hurt their feelings or hurt their eyes to look at. This is who the left is. What they were upset about is I was actually showing proof of the crimes, and people were finding out for real what has happened. Because remember, the Democrat Party and their mouthpiece, the mainstream media, they covered up the Hunter Biden laptop story, the most explosive story in 2020. They covered it up because it contained the real proof that Joe Biden himself, who is now president of the United States, engaged in all type of money laundering, and that his son, Hunter Biden, is an absolute criminal. That's why Jamie Raskin was upset about the images I was showing. But Benny, let me tell you something. There's more to come with this story, because I needed more time with those whistleblowers. I had an important question I wanted to ask them. And I had started to get into it when Jamie Raskin and Goldman and others on the committee were upset and trying to stop me in what I was saying. But Hunter Biden downloaded many sex tapes on all types of pornography websites, a foreign amateur porn site as well, all the way to Pornhub is what we understand. My question I wanted to ask those IRS whistleblowers, and I think they had the answer for me because I was watching their faces. I wanted to find out, did Hunter Biden receive any payment or make any type of money, any type of revenue stream from the porn he was uploading on all these websites? And if he did, that revenue that he took in for making sex tapes, did he report it and pay taxes on that revenue? That was the question I was trying to get to, and I hope I can get those questions answered.
In a time when there seems to be a really high level of awareness about sex trafficking, Sound of Freedom, of course, at Bedminster last night, Jim Caviezel was on the show for an hour yesterday. This should be one of the most despicable crimes that could be exposed, and it would seem that everyone should be rallying to your side. But even some Republicans are like, oh, I don't want to touch that. Yeah. Can you speak to what is it that moved you to actually expose these crimes to the American people? Because this is the most public it's ever been, right?
Yes. And I mean, believe me, it was uncomfortable to show those images. I was nervous to do it. But the reason why I did it, Benny, is because things are so bad. Things are horrible. Women and children are trafficked every single day. Sex slavery is real, and God bless them for making the movie Sound of Freedom. It has truly been a gift of truth and knowledge that our country very much needed. But the reason why I did it is because I believe in the American people, Benny, and I believe in truth. And when people know the truth, that convinces them, it convicts them to act. And I believe that no matter how outrageous or horrific it is, we have to put the truth out there for the American people. And I know they will make the right decisions moving forward. And the mainstream media and the Democrats are the party of censorship. They are the party that tries to cover up the truth. So we have to push through that in any way we can. And sitting on an oversight committee as a member of Congress, number one, I'm protected by the speech and debate clause. So I can say and show information in any way that I want to. And I have protection as a member of Congress to do that. But also on the oversight committee, it goes into congressional record. And these crimes are real. The Department of Justice is the Department of Injustice, and they are not prosecuting Hunter Biden or Joe Biden for that matter, because our real investigation is into Joe Biden. But by doing it on the oversight committee, no one can erase it, no one can censor it, and they can't cover it up from the American people.
So it sounds like there's more to come.
Definitely, there's more to come. Yes.
All right, wonderful. Final question I'll have for you. I have for you here, Congresswoman, is the committee defended Hunter Biden. They sprinted to defend Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden is available at all times with a little red backpack wandering around the White House. He's on the president's balcony, right? Like they're putting him front and center. He's going on trips, right, with Joe. But this guy not only is a sex pest, right? Not only is a woman abuser and potential engaging in potential human trafficking, as James Comer illuminated for us on Tuesday. He also seems to be quite racist in some of his text messages. Something that would seemingly be reported out if it was one of your interns sending messages like this. But here's an article about Hunter Biden saying no yellow when it has to do with like women that are to be served up to him, and he's talking about Asian women. Hunter Biden's used the N-word throughout his the laptop. There's N-word usages in his private text messages. You're just barely scratching the surface here. This is the person they're defending.
That's right. That's right. They're defending him, and he is quite a racist. I mean, today you have the weaponization committee, and all the Democrats are outraged at Bobby Kennedy, because he's talking about the very real possibility that COVID-19 could have been engineered to target people by race. And so the Democrats are trying to censor him. Debbie Wasserman Schultz, just maybe an hour ago, was trying to completely shut him down and censor his speech and his ability to speak to the committee about his opinions and information that he had. But this is the party that wants to cover everything up, and they don't care about race. They don't care about women. They don't care about children, because if they did, they would close our borders and they would stop the human trafficking. But here's the real truth. And I think this is my opinion, and I'll tell you what I think. Hunter Biden is protected. Joe Biden is protected because Joe Biden is an asset of the intelligence community, and he is installed in the White House, and they have to protect him and keep him safe because he's completely controlled. He does everything he's told to do by the Democrat Party and the powers that be that are behind him. But the intelligence community, the FBI, the Department of Justice, the CIA, and many others are the ones responsible for protecting Hunter Biden and Joe Biden himself. And because they do it, they are compliant, and when we should be holding them accountable for not prosecuting, for covering up and hiding the crimes of Hunter Biden and Joe Biden himself. And they have reasons they protect him, Benny, because he does exactly what they want him to do.
It makes perfect sense. Occam's razor. It's the simplest explanation. And he does. Yeah. I mean, quite obviously. Look at, we're funding Ukraine's border a lot better than we're funding our own. Marjorie Taylor Greene, thank you so very much for being on the program. Thank you for your fearlessness. I mean, you should see the comment section just melt down when you're on the program. The people love you. You can follow MTG over here. 800,000 followers on Twitter. 800,000 Patriots can't be wrong.
Yeah, and that was after a year of not even having my Twitter account.
Final. Okay, I have 60 seconds. This tells the story of that cover image right there, that beautiful one with Tucker and Trump. Just give us one background story on that.
Oh, that was a great time. That was at the first Live golf tournament at Bedminster. And we were hanging out on the president's balcony right there, watching the players play. We were having a ball, and I would love to tell you the conversations we had, but I'm just going to keep those to myself.
Okay, we'll read them in the new Tucker book. Thank you so much, Marjorie.
Okay, thanks, Benny.
Godspeed.